Damn, y'all feel that?
Yeah, yeah, uh, yeah. A message to all you pseudo spitters. The sound is cool, but the trend I see is the truth is missing. I feel the flow is stupid. You claim that the music's different. I guess it's all opinion, depending on who was listening.
What's the word, y'all? It's KTR Podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR. We are back in the building for episode 93 of No Roast Podcast. That's right. Know the Roast Podcast, hashtag KTR. We are KTR, and we are back, and we are still here. We are still here. Don't forget that we are still here. We have not gone anywhere. It's been a little bit some time since our last episode came out, and that was when the last PLA came out, and that was for the Royal Rumble. Now we are here after the Elimination Chamber premium live event just happened, and that's the last live event of the premium content that is to come out before WrestleMania. But before we dive into this episode, before we get down to the nitty gritty, before we start talking, before we have a round table of discussion of wrestling, I got to check with my brother, and that is J-Bo himself. J-Bo, how are you feeling today?
Doing good, big dog. Another day closer and closer to the Super Bowl of wrestling, to the biggest night of any wrestling fans' year, and that's WrestleMania. So I can't be upset. I'm doing good, big dog.
That's good. I'm glad to hear it. That is right. The big dance of the year is WrestleMania in the best city in America. That is Sin City, Las Vegas. You can't go anywhere better than that in the United States, if I do say so myself. But before we dive into this episode real quick, y'all got to do this one simple favor for us, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, No Roast Podcast, Facebook, YouTube, No Roast Podcast, all podcast platforms, Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, Podbean, everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestlingTees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's get in, let's go, and let's get into the show. And y'all know what my number one topic and the first topic I'm going to talk about today. That is none other than yes, my favorite wrestler of all time. Y'all wrestlers' favorite wrestler of all time. That is none other than the GOAT himself, John Cena. First and foremost, big shout and congratulations to John Cena for winning the men's Elimination Chamber match and to face Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania. He will have a main event match for his last WrestleMania. Couldn't say it more better than myself. It's perfect. It's the perfect movie edit right there. It's the perfect documentation for it. But with that being said, with him getting this main event match, oh, we got a little shocker at the end of Elimination Chamber out in Canada.
Probably one of the biggest shocks in wrestling history. Yeah.
This man, Jonathan Cena, kicked Cody Rhodes in the nuts, the balls, the testicles. The area where men produce. Yeah, he kicked them there and beat Cody Rhodes into the ground, along with The Rock and Travis Scott. But with that, I was shocked. I was happy. I was in awe. And I'm like, it's about damn time.
Yeah.
It's about time. He did this on his last year, his farewell tour. Like, what's the best way to go out with a bang? You know what? Be like, you know what? I'm good. F y'all fans. F these kids. I'm getting my 17th title. That's what it's all about. But J-Bo, how do you feel about first John Cena winning the Elimination Chamber and his heel turn?
First, with the Elimination Chamber, with him winning, it makes sense. If you're one of the biggest names in pro wrestling, arguably the biggest name, at least of our generation, and you don't go to the main event by winning a major match, the whole retirement tour is pointless. So great. I'm glad he won the Elimination Chamber. As far as Cena turning heel, if there's any time for Cena to turn heel, it is now. This was the perfect time for him to turn heel. If we remember, he actually had an interview with Chris Van Vliet, and he said that there was actually plans for him to turn heel. What, about 13 years ago, after he had his match with The Rock? They had theme music planned, they had merchandise ready, but of course Vince shot it down. But at the time, I guess it kind of made sense because John Cena was the top guy. You're talking about merchandising, commercials. He was the face of the company. And then you're going to take that and turn him heel when you don't have anybody else right at that caliber just yet. Time has passed. Cena's been gone for a while. We got Cody Rhodes, who do great with the kids and, like, you know, the middle-aged people. Then you got Jey Uso, who's good with the kids, maybe the teenage. You got CM Punk, who's good with all ages. They got merchandise and they got sales. They got the kid. They got everyone on lock. WWE is safe from a financial standpoint. So, because that's safe, you don't have to rely on Cena and the shirts and the whatnot. You don't have to do that anymore. So now Cena, he can finally turn heel, which is what we all been waiting for years. But my one thing that I have to say about this whole thing, if Cena's going to turn heel, especially this retirement tour, he has to go all out. He can't hold nothing back. This has to be the most aggressive, most egregious, most diabolical version of Cena possible. Now, at the end of this year, he can probably turn face, turn on The Rock, whatever. Yay, happy ending, whatever. But because he's heel, he has to be the most evil version of Cena for this, in my opinion, for it to truly pay off in the direction that they're going. After, 21 years of him being a face. I'm on board. I just need him to go all out.
With this, with me, I personally didn't care if he stayed face or he went heel. I just wanted to see him get this 17th title. I want to see him wrestle at WrestleMania one more time. And it's good because we don't know what to expect from him. That's what makes it special, because he's been a face his whole majority of his career. No, he was a heel. No, he was the like right before like became like the official like Dr. Thugonomics at that time, whatever. But like outside of that, we have not seen him in basically 20 years of him being a bad guy, a heel. So we don't know what to expect from him, and it should come into fruition because of the fact. Now he has a lot of acting underneath his belt. Maybe that could help out in his favor of like how he approaches this new persona that he has. So we don't know what to expect. It may be some new theme music. It may be new attire. Like it's something new for us, and what makes it better for like the wrestling fans, because you know how often wrestling fans can change and be a little fickle here and there. Since this is his last year of wrestling, it's short term. So it's proper because you can get that quick pop, get it in and out for a few months. Then he go back to being good. I guess he has to go back to being a face before he officially retires, of course. So he's getting the taste of like what could have been that 13 years ago when he was when he could have been a heel back then after the match with The Rock. But with this, that's what makes it special, because he's going to get that pop. He's going to get that flair. He's going to get that reaction from the crowd. Then once all said and done, it's good. Then we can just move on from there. So I can't wait to see what he's going to do. Could it be corny? Possibly. Could it be entertaining? Of course. But that's what makes all of this special.
Yeah. And we're all going to be watching regardless.
And when he wins that title at WrestleMania, even as a bad guy, I'm still gonna cry. I don't care. You're not gonna take this moment away from me and not make it special. It's still gonna be special. I don't care if he's a bad guy. It's special to me.
Yeah.
So speaking of titles, there has been a transition of titles on the women's side, and that is for the Women's World Championship.
Yep.
That's what's called. Yeah, Women's World Championship. And Io Sky surprisingly defeated Rhea Ripley on Netflix Monday Night Raw for that title. And with that, that's another fun fact that I actually heard on Raw, is that Rhea Ripley has not beaten Io Sky in a one-on-one match. And I was like,
yeah.
I guess it's gonna be the first time, because Rhea Ripley been dominating everybody in like what's WrestleMania without Rhea Ripley. Guess what? We're gonna find out this year. Possibly, we don't hear. But as of right now, we're gonna find out because Io Sky defeated Rhea Ripley, and now we're gonna have Io versus Bianca Belair at WrestleMania for the WWE Women's World Championship.
Mhm.
So, how do you feel about this surprising title change right before WrestleMania?
On one end, I like it because Hunter and Friends is truly bringing back unpredictability in pro wrestling, which is great. It's exactly what we need. As far as Io Sky winning the belt, I like Rhea. I like Io. She's great in the ring, even though she's still working on English. I still think she does great on promos. But as far as her winning, I still don't see it necessary. Uh, Rhea Ripley's been doing great at WrestleMania these past few years, and honestly, Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair one-on-one alone would have been great. In my opinion, I would have been more interested in that match than in the Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton match. The last time Rhea and Bianca fought was way back in NXT TakeOver Portland, and Rhea Ripley, back when she had the blonde hair, she beat Bianca clean. But now we're fast forward. Bianca, she's on a whole new level. Rhea, she's on a whole new level. So that would have been great. I think what they're going to end up doing, I mean, the writing's kind of on the wall where they're going to turn to a triple threat match and just throw Rhea into it. Which again, I think that's fine. I still think it's going to be a good triple threat match all around. But the title change just wasn't necessary. It's nice, it's cool, but you didn't need to do that. Io, she would have been fine if she would have did something else. I still think the spotlight should have been just on a one-on-one Rhea versus Bianca match.
With that, I agree. And also, quick shout out to Bianca Belair for winning the women's elimination chamber match. Did not see that coming, but at the same time, what is a WrestleMania without Bianca Belair too? So we got to think about that as well. And I was like, you know what? Because we were saying, oh, it could be Alexa Bliss, it could be Liv Morgan, but we just pushed aside Bianca Belair because I guess of her own storyline that she had going on at the time being. So
storyline threw us off.
Right. So I'm like, oh, Bianca won.
Yeah,
hey,
right.
Great. Cool. Yeah. So I was looking forward to Bianca versus Rhea match because that would been a powerhouse match, and that would just been. Oh, I would try to see how the crowd would go for that, because the crowd's heavy behind Rhea, but the crowd loves Bianca, so it would just been like it'll been juggling with that, and also you got two faces. I guess you consider Rhea a face. So you got two faces of going against each other a main event WrestleMania match, so that would have been a thing too as well. But that usually happens with the women's side too, because we had that with Bianca and Sasha as well. So no, it happens. It is what it is. It's box office. We gotta get the main attractions on the board. So with that being said, why is Io Sky there?
Yeah, man.
That was not planned for me to say. I ad-libbed that and I just thought about it. Why is Io Sky there? I have nothing against Io Sky at all. Don't get me wrong. She's great. She's talented. Everything that J-Bo said. But this is WrestleMania.
Yes.
We gotta sell tickets.
Mm-hmm.
Y'all tickets are expensive as hell this year for some odd reason.
Yeah.
So we gotta sell them somehow, some way. You would have sold me if it was Bianca and Rhea.
Mm-hmm.
You got Io. That ain't moving the level for me. I'm sorry, but
well, we all know that Io is one of Triple H's favorites. One of the hand-picked ones from NXT back when he was over it, who came up. So I honestly think that's the only reason why the fans obviously was not begging for Io Sky to be in the main event, to be in the women's championship match. I just think that because she has a lot of people who's looking out for her behind the scenes is why they threw her into the match.
Hey, got the Io on the team. I guess it is what it is. That's what happened. You got a good support system behind you, but also that's what happens when you're talented as well. So everything backs up. But like I said, I ain't mad at it. I'm pretty sure they're gonna put on a great match.
Yeah.
So there's no doubt of Io's wrestling ability at all. So there's no question with that. Like I said, it's just watching something that wasn't that. Like I said, we were expecting, but got something that we weren't expecting. So, like I said, it's the whole new regime that's going on. So hey, I'm not mad at it, but as of right now, we have Io Sky versus Bianca Belair.
Yeah. Yeah.
But speaking of Bianca Belair, something happened to her friend Naomi, and that is she got jumped in her match before the match even started by her other friend, Jade Cargill, my favorite. I love that woman.
That woman, she still looks unreal. She does not look real, dude.
Not at all.
Who Chris Hemsworth, who Chris Evans, who Robert Downey Jr., who Mark Ruffalo, who all these people who play superheroes in movies, who they think that they look like, they'll look nothing like how Jade Cargill is in real life.
It don't make sense how she looks. It's just phenomenal. Just all around, just physique, beauty, talent. It's just there. But anywho, before I get sidetracked by that, Jay Cargill beat the brakes off of Naomi. Plain and simple. She finally made a return after being, jumped by somebody or something and being out of commission for a while. But now she's back and she's angry. She's kind of mad.
Yeah.
I can understand why. So with that, since Jay jumped Naomi kind of got carted out for the neck brace. What do you think that was all about? Hint, hint.
I mean, it's clearly obvious, dude. I mean, the direction that they're going is towards Naomi. I mean, all the pieces were in place for Naomi to be the one to jump, and while Bianca was the one in the match, Naomi was jealous. She wanted to be champions with Bianca, so you take Jade out, Naomi gets the belt, and no one ever finds out. So I mean, it's an easy storyline. I think the main focus here is on Jade Cargill. Jade Cargill obviously still looks great. She's put back into the fold, but she's not a face, and well, she may be a face. I mean, it's not her fault because she was jumped. So I would see her as the face in this case, but she's coming off as like a more dominant person. The one thing that we had to pay attention to is her in-ring, because that's the one thing everybody talks about. Oh, she's still green. She's been wrestling for AEW for all these years. She's been TNT champion. Now she's coming over. She was tag team champion. She's still green. Whatever. She's in a different zone here. She's in a position where she could just be this tall, dominant individual. And sometimes when you're just a taller, bigger adversary and you're dominant in that way, I'm not saying that your wrestling ability is not that important, but your dominance has a more focal point than your actual wrestling ability. I think I read somewhere like, oh, well, Omar did the same thing. He was big or whatever, face or heel, he just dominated. The difference between those two is that Jade actually has personality. She has character. She has charisma. She has the look. She has everything around her. So now that she can come into the ring, and again, all we saw was just her jump Naomi. We haven't seen her in a match, obviously, since she came back. So that's to be told. But from what we saw, if she just keeps that same aggression and just translate that to a more dominant persona in the ring, this can do wonders for her in the ring. Not just with Naomi, but maybe eventually with Bianca and then with other wrestlers down the line. So this is a very interesting but a very positive position that Jade Cargill is in right now.
I agree, and I agree with that. So this is another side question with that. Mm-hmm. So if they do go in the direction of Jade Cargill, like being the victim and being the face of the situation, and Naomi was the person that jumped her, mm-hmm. Does that mean Naomi will become a heel?
Absolutely. Absolutely, Naomi would be the heel. I mean, what you can't have them as two faces, but one face jumped the other. And you can't look at Jade Cargill as the heel because she was the one attacked. So, yep, Naomi's the heel in this situation.
So, how you feel about that moving forward with Naomi being a heel, going in the direction of the WWE right now?
I think that's necessary for Naomi. Naomi's been a face her entire career.
She had a heel run.
She did.
Yeah.
Really forgettable. It's
she had a heel run. You forgot?
No shade. It's just that I think that's necessary for her. Again, I don't know how that will play for Naomi in the long run. I think she would just need to be a heel for this moment. I can also see Naomi being a heel and being somewhat more aggressive in like the women's mid card field, especially since we're talking about the women's Intercontinental title and the women's United States title. I can see her, separating herself from the two, keeping that heel persona, and like dibble dabbling in that area. But no, I mean, I'll be okay with her being heel. She's already been a face for long enough. Time for a change.
I feel like she should stay.
Say face.
Yes.
Then what more can you get from Naomi then?
Just being the face and on the roster. Like I feel like I don't know off the top of my head how many women there are heels currently, but if I were to keep somebody a face and change somebody to be a heel, I would definitely keep Naomi as a face. That's why we have somebody that's like automatically just lovable. That's like a gift and a curse. Like she's just lovable. And like you can't help that. And like it's hard to turn somebody to a heel when you're lovable. Like they tried that with like the Street Profits, but they're lovable. Like it's difficult to do that. Like you try that with who's another person that was bad trying to turn good or good trying to turn bad. I can't think on top of my head, but like if you're lovable, that's just gonna play. That's gonna be against you because it's gonna be like either like it's not convincing or we still love you.
That's true. The problem with Naomi, though, is that her by herself, there's not going to be that much focus on her. Imagine Naomi stays as a face, but she separates herself from Bianca and Jade Cargill. Let's say she run her course with that, and now she's done. Who's going to pay attention to a Naomi main event match with I hate to say with Rhea or Alexa Bliss or I don't know, Charlotte even. I mean, she's clearly going to look at the individual that's going to lose the match. She's not going to look at somebody, oh yeah, Naomi can go in and she can arguably beat them, fair and square or whatever. For where she is right now in her position, I think that she'll get more credibility if she switches it up a little bit and go into it with an idea of, okay, I may not be able to, be as dominant as, Bianca or Jade or Rio or whatever, but I can go in and do a bit more slide tackles that I haven't done before. That'll help give me victories that I haven't had before. I haven't had in a while. I forgot she's a 2-time SmackDown Women's Champion. Don't want to forget that.
I feel like she just should say her face. I'm still gonna go. I'm still gonna say it. It's just
that's fair.
It's just not. For me, just feel like because when she was a heel, she had a group. Now she's like, now she's gonna be by herself as a heel. Grant, I know she can hold it down on her own. It's just she's just lovable. I just feel like that's the problem. That's why it's not gonna be convincing for me.
I think she will be fine, dude.
Yeah, she's gonna be fine. But heel.
Look at Kofi Kingston. Kofi Kingston couldn't be a heel because he's been lovable for years. Him being a face just made sense to nobody. But he's been doing a phenomenal job with Xavier on Raw. So yes, you can be lovable, but once you've been in the business for a while, especially when you have the type of wrestlers that's around you, you can make it work.
Their heel run not convincing to me either.
Really?
I ain't gonna lie to you. I'm sorry. We're gonna say that topic for another day, but I'm like,
I'll give you that. Xavier has it, but I'm sorry, Kofi has really been keeping me interested on his side because I didn't expect for him to be a heel, number one, or to do so convincingly. But yeah, he's been standing out to me the most. But my point is,
the reason why he's been standing out because he shaved his mustache off. He got this beard and no mustache combo. It's insane.
Dude, it's a TikTok
trend.
Insane. It's a TikTok trend. People hate it, and that's why he's doing it, because he know people hate it.
He's ignorant.
True.
Oh man. Hey, it is what it is. We're gonna see what happens moving forward, going to WrestleMania. But with that being said, speaking about WrestleMania,
yeah.
It's matches that's already on the card. There are matches to come, but with that being said, what is one match that could potentially happen at WrestleMania, or is already happening at WrestleMania, that you may have your doubts about or that you fear?
There's one match there's one match that is confirmed that I do have some doubts with, and there's another match that isn't really confirmed, but like if it does happen long term, I have doubts about. But the one that is confirmed, I definitely have doubts with, is the WWE Women's Championship match between Charlotte and.
That's the same one I was thinking.
I have doubts. The reason why I have doubts is when Charlotte was last at WrestleMania, she had a one-on-one match with Rhea Ripley for the Women's Championship, and that was arguably the best match of the night. Period. Charlotte came back recently. She has the knee brace, and you can see when she was in the Rumble, she wasn't moving the same way that she was. She really wasn't. Now, again, that's the Rumble. It's not an official match, but again, you can kind of get an idea of their conditioning, their in-ring, their chemistry with other wrestlers, in the Rumble. Then you have someone like Tiffany Stratton. Tiffany Stratton, she's been doing great. I got no problem with Tiffany Stratton. She's a great champion, but the match will either be a phenomenal match. It'll elevate Tiffany to where it needs to be, or it can be a dud because, again, Tiffany, she's only been wrestling, 5 years total? 4 years maybe? And then you have somebody like Charlotte who's very ventured, but she's getting older, she's had injuries, she has surgeries, and she's not in the same position. So, again, it can turn out terrific or it can turn out very, very sloppy. And I'm very concerned on how that's going to turn out.
See, this was the same match that I picked, even though I did say and call when Tiffany Stratton was going to cash in her Money in the Bank. I did say when Charlotte was going to pick Tiffany Stratton for a WrestleMania match because Tiffany needs that elevation for that match because it needs a big main event person for it. But with that, it's the stuff, the promos, the matches that are leading up to WrestleMania, and WrestleMania is coming up in a few weeks.
Mm-hmm.
It's just not convincing right now. Like the build up isn't necessarily all the way there, and because it's like so many changes they try to do in such a little time, with like turning Tiffany Stratton into a face. Even though I feel like she should have just stayed here because I feel like she fits that that prissy, stuck up personality better. And they tried to make Charlotte a face, but
the fans
said, no, we not gonna no, F that, boo her. Like, so it's just like now we gotta keep Charlotte as a heel. So it's like, okay, the match that we want is there, but now we got the two superstars in the two different areas that we want them on the opposite side. So it's just like you're juggling that. They try to do the whole thing with just like pushing Tiffany Stratton with like having somebody like a Trish Stratus on the side. It's still not cutting it. People gonna hate Charlotte regardless. So like Charlotte's gonna beat Charlotte at the end of the day. But it's just with the champion, the person with the belt is.
Yeah,
it's not her fault. It's not Tiffany's fault. Oh, it's not. It's just she's just in wrong place, wrong time. Unfortunately.
Yeah, and then in addition,
she got caught in the crossfire. It's like if they had waited for her to cash in her Money in the Bank, probably at WrestleMania, it'd been better. So she can cash in that way instead of like doing before and like having her have this main event match. Cause now you gotta rely on her to have like the biggest match on the biggest stage in front of millions. Like that's where it gets iffy and tricky.
But again, this could turn out to be a phenomenal match because of the pressure that she has.
It could, and like I think that's what's really relying on is this in-ring competition, and I feel that's going to be the saving grace for this match if she puts on a stellar A+ performance.
Yeah,
because the build up for it is just not there. The character work with how they have everything set up didn't go as planned. So, and what really saves everything is a phenomenal match in great spots.
Yeah. The story they're going to have to tell is that although Tiffany is the champion, she's also somewhat the underdog in this case because of the opponent that she has, and they can tell that story. Charlotte can go in there and she can, throw her around. She can say, "I don't give a damn if you're if you're the champion, I've been here longer. I've held this belt 14, 15,000 times. I've done it. I've been at this stage before, but the resolve and the fight back that Tiffany can have can truly bring out a good WrestleMania performance. So again, it can really go down the drain, or it can really take Tiffany to new heights. Yeah.
Like I said, it's all about what happens. So like we gonna see though. Like I said, I have a little worry and doubt, but hey, if she puts on that performance in the ring, then everything will be a-okay.
Yeah.
But until then, thank y'all for tuning in. Thank y'all for watching. Thank y'all for listening. Thank y'all for participating in our episode 93 of No Rose Podcast. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for everything that y'all have done for us, and keep on. I have no idea what I was about to say, but just keep watching the show, man. Keep supporting.
Watch and listen.
Right, watch and listen. Listen and watch. But until then, do this one super favor for us before we log out, and that is to follow us on all social media platforms, KTR_podcast, Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok. No Rose Podcast, Facebook, YouTube. No Rose Podcast, all podcast platforms. Google Podcast, Spotify, Anchor, Apple Podcast, Podbean, everything. And don't forget to get that merch at ProWrestleTees.com/KTR Podcast. Let's get off this show. This is episode 93. Know the Rose Podcast. #KTR. And we are out.
What should they do? My dog Cinco.
Hey, Jay Harp, come back, man. This is throwing me y'all. But pump them numbers, damn it. Yes, yeah, it ain't happening.
That don't compute in my mind. I must be out of mind. Black fist high, rally up before we out of time.